Hi everyone, it's Natalie here, and today I'm going to be talking about how I went from my corporate job where I used to make $28,000 per year to then making six figures from my business per year to where I am now, where I currently make around $50,000 per month from my business. Right? So I'm going to be sharing with you the two biggest things that I really think made the biggest difference for me to be able to get to where I am now. And the first one was visualization, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later, as well as the strategies that I had to use to really build up my business. Originally, I didn't want to share this with people, but I've had a lot of people asking me to share my own story, and I decided, hey, this might help you, so I am going to do that. Before I get into this video today, if you don't know who I am, I actually help a lot of nutrition experts and holistic health professionals who are looking to grow their business, and I help them with different business strategies, as well as I teach them different Instagram tactics. Right? I teach a lot about Instagram on my YouTube channel because people ask me about it a lot. If you want a full training on how to do that yourself and get some of these strategies for yourself that you can start using today, then you can go to the link below in my description and actually receive a full training where I'll talk about content, stories, and presentation and how to write your bio and everything Instagram, right? So that you can actually get clients from your Instagram profile no matter your following size. So back before I even started my actual business, right, I was actually working a corporate job where I was on salary for around $28,000 per year. Right? And the biggest reason why I accepted that job, because now looking back, I'm like, wow, I accepted a job with a really low salary. And I was actually in a marketing position where we were kind of a marketing and events company, and we collaborated with companies such as Google and Home Depot. And it sounds like a really cool job. But in reality, most of the people were very, very miserable there, working there. And I kind of was trying to go this route because I had already changed paths from a previous route where everybody seemed to be kind of miserable in their job there. And so I was like, maybe this is going to be better. And I really didn't know what I was doing with my life, to be honest. I just knew that I needed a job because I needed to be able to pay my bills, and I had student loan debt at the time. And so that was kind of that whole thing. And so I got in this job, and everybody really kind of hated it. With good reason. One, it just, essentially, I also didn't like it very much at all, because I would often work, 50, 60, 70 hours per week and still get paid that $28,000 per year salary. And I wasn't really loving it because it was a lot of work for a whole lot of not much pay. And even though it sounded cool because I used to travel to these different events, right? In reality, it wasn't really very cool. And yes, I loved the marketing aspect of things, and I loved the writing aspect of things, the editing aspect of things. But when it came down to actually working there, I really didn't like it at all. So after getting back from a business trip in New York City when I was still working with them, I just decided to quit on the spot. This sounds like very irrational behavior, but I had it up to here, and my health was starting to suffer, and I just decided, what the hell, I'm going to quit. And I was just like, maybe I'll get another job. I didn't really know what I was doing. Again, not really the smartest thing to do, okay? But this was my life at the time. And so essentially what happened is I decided to quit that job on the spot, and they even ended up offering me like this marketing manager position because they wanted me to stay working with them. But I felt like, well, this is not getting me to where I really want. In reality, I was like, where do I really want? I just want to be making more so that I don't feel like I'm, having to decide if I can buy the jalapeno potato chips at the store, right? I mean, for some people you think, oh, why couldn't you buy potato chips? I'm a big saver too. So on that salary, I really couldn't do much. And then B, I knew that just the culture that was at that job, it just wasn't a good fit for me. So after I quit this job, I had to go get some other job in order to be able to pay my bills, naturally, right? So I essentially worked at a pizza joint that was down the street from my apartment while I tried to figure my life out, right? And so I was working there, and I kind of had this idea of, what if I started my own business, right? And it wasn't very well formed. I just thought to myself, wow, I really don't like working for people. Prior to that corporate marketing job, I had some other previous not so great experiences, right, with working for people. And all I knew is, I was like, if I could just make $50,000 a year from my business, where I could be at home, and I really loved writing. I still love writing to this day. Now I like that I get to do kind of a mix of things, but I was like, if I could write and I could make $50,000 a year, that would be, like mind-blowing, crazy to me. So what I did is I just started doing a ton of research about how to start your business. And this might be where you could relate to a few things. Maybe you're I was always watching all these different videos, and people are like, I'm making this and I'm making this. And I was like, what? How are they doing this? How do you get clients? Because even though I've done marketing, right? I did marketing once people had clients, and then we tried to help them get more clients, and it's kind of different. But I didn't actually know how to start from ground zero at all. And so essentially for several months, I was applying to other jobs besides the pizza place, and I was trying to get my business up and going. And the reason why I really see that it took me so long, because it honestly took me, May, June, July, August. It took me 4 months. It took me 4 months before I got my very first client. And the reason why I see it took me so long to get there is A, because I really had no clue exactly what I was going for. I was just like, I would like to make $50,000 a year. Cool, but I had no real idea of how I was going to get there, what exactly that was going to look like. And so it's very hard to try to go somewhere when you don't really even know where you're going, right? And you don't really even know if that's the end goal destination. And so that's why I've really seen that visualization is a key aspect in being able to really start up your business. I started doing this without even knowing what I was doing. If you've ever heard of the concept of manifestation, I didn't even know what manifestation meant at the time. And I didn't know what that process was. But now looking back, I actually did start manifesting, getting to 6 figures a year with my business. So essentially, I started getting clearer on what I wanted instead of thinking about what I didn't want, right? I used to be in this mindset of, I don't want people to tell me what to do. I don't want to have to work until I'm, dropping over of exhaustion. I don't want, and instead I shifted to, what do I want? And I got a lot clearer on that. So I'm actually going to show you kind of a page of my journal back from the time when I first started this. So essentially, this is an old journal of mine. I used to be really into journaling, really into taking photos, putting it in a journal, writing. I used to do this kind of on a daily basis. And in this actual journal entry, I talk about, what do I want? And I got very clear on what I actually wanted. And what I started doing is talking about, I actually would like if my life looked like this. And I want for my business to operate like this. And I started getting clearer and clearer and clearer on what I did want rather than what I didn't want. And by doing so, then I realized, because I didn't even realize I was doing this until later, I was presented with this concept of manifestation, essentially. And I didn't really know what I was doing until about, like, I think it was 8 to 9 months later, when I learned about the concept of manifestation and I looked back on my journal and I was like, wow, everything that I wanted to happen happened. Wow. And so before I lose you here, because if you would have told me this back in the day, I would have been like, what a bunch of hooey-dooey nonsense. What are you, like a hippie from the 60s? And that's what I would have thought at the time. But it was that partially, and then it was also getting more logistical and actually having a plan to get me to where I wanted to be. So I had the expertise and the knowledge of how to do writing, but I needed to know how to get clients. And at the very beginning, I was very scattered about this. I was trying to help people in the travel niche, the realtor niche, the health and wellness niche, the, what else? What's another niche? I don't know, like the chiropractor, that kind of goes in the same thing though. But essentially I was all over the place and I didn't really know what I was doing, and I was just like, hey, I want to help everybody because I don't want to exclude people. And this was like probably the biggest hang up that could have happened. And what I ended up doing is I actually ended up purchasing a course on how to get clients from, different websites that essentially connect you with different clients, people looking for someone to help them, and then me on there as a profile, like, hey, hire me for whatever dollars per hour, right? And so essentially, one of the first things this guy said to do is you have to have a niche. I was like, wow. So that's when I decided, because I'd always been very into nutrition, health, and wellness, right? And I even had a background back in college of doing a lot of research on these things and taking classes in that as well. And so I was like, I'm going to become a nutrition and health writer. Literally a week later, I got my first clients. So I know sometimes when you watch my videos and I talk about picking a niche, and people are like, do I really want to pick a niche? Pick a niche, right? And so now I've been in this niche for forever. And I went from having originally a business that just did writing, and to then people wanted me for more projects for health and wellness, to then I was consulting these companies more on how to make more sales. And I got further and further into this nutrition, health, and wellness niche, right? And then it got to a point to where eventually, probably about a year and a half ago, I started having a lot of nutritionists and dietitians start reaching out to me for my help with getting their business off the ground. Before that, I always worked with larger nutrition brands, such as Sun Warrior protein powders and supplements, right? I still work with them to this day. And Fit On and other different kind of nutrition and fitness companies where I help them with kind of all different aspects of their marketing, and to helping people who were at ground zero, kind of like how I used to be. And essentially what I've realized with them, because I started initially teaching them tactics, right, and strategies, such as picking your niche, and that is very important, pick a niche, and actually knowing how to take people who were complete strangers to bringing them into your sphere of influence, to then turning them into paying clients who want to work with you long term, right? And actually being able to do this consistently so that you can stabilize your income. Because essentially it's a couple things, right? It's one, you need to have a niche, and two, you need to have a system for getting clients from that niche. And then three, you need to have an irresistible offer that people from that niche really, really want. right? And with those 3 magic things, you can build a 6-figure business with ease, right? And this is what I essentially learned. And through this time, what I started doing is visualizing myself in a new state is what I kept doing. So after I started making around $4,000 per month, right? I was like, this is awesome. You know, I can totally make $50,000 a year. And then I got into, oh wow, I'm making $6,000. Now I'm making $8,000. Now I'm making $10,000. And then after I made $10,000 per month, I dropped down to $4,000 per month. And this is when I realized that your business is actually highly reliant more upon your mindset than it actually is upon the strategies that you're using. Because I was like, how could I go from way up here to way down here? And what happened? And I did this a couple times where I would go up and then I would drop down again. And I realized that it was essentially because I wasn't putting enough emphasis on visualization and my mindset and keeping my mind really clear and always thinking about essentially my becoming you. That's kind of what I call it. And if you want to know more about how to create your own becoming you, I have a mindset video on how to do this for yourself down below in the description as well. But essentially I realized that was just as important. And so then fast forward again, a few months once I started working with dietitians, nutritionists, holistic health practitioners, etc. Then what I did is I realized, wow, I have to be able to teach them this part too, or else they're not going to be able to get to where they want to be. And so essentially, my biggest advice to you, whether you're currently making $10,000 per month, or you're making $0 per month, or you're like, I'm making a couple $100s per month, is don't concentrate on what you don't want, right? But instead, focus on who the next person who can do what you want to do with ease is. And start to live in that space. And that usually means that we have to get outside of our comfort zones. And every single time that I've wanted to up-level my business, like this video today, I really was like, do I want to share my story? It feels very kind of nerve-wracking for me to talk about my own life and my own business and kind of what it took me to get here, right? And essentially I'm talking about starting at ground zero. It's been over 2 years now when I started at ground zero and to where I am today. And it's very nerve-wracking putting that out there for people. But I realize that every time I do something that maybe someone who makes more than what I do today would do, I'm growing into that person. And so without personal growth, there is no business growth. And if you looked back on who I was back in the day when I first started, I'm not the person I am today. And that's why I make more money from my business today. And I had to grow in a lot of ways. I had to get comfortable with selling to people, right? And redefining what that meant. And I had to get comfortable with putting myself out there. And I had to get comfortable with doing so many things that made me feel like I was having a panic attack every time I was going to do them. A lot of people today would see me more as kind of an extroverted personality. At least that's how I think people perceive me. But back when I first started, I was unbelievably introverted and I was constantly doubting myself and I was worried about what everyone was going to think. I mean, if you would have told me that I had to get in front of a camera and talk to a camera, that would have been enormously outside of my comfort zone. There's no way I would have done it at all back then. And so what I realized is that every single time we want to level up, we have to get out of that comfort zone. And so regardless of where you are right now, take comfort in knowing that I'm having to do the exact same thing that you are having to do, which is getting comfortable with the uncomfortable and putting myself in kind of a new state every single time I want to level up my business. And you're going to change, but it's going to be a great thing. It's going to be a freeing thing. You're going to start to really love the things that you used to feel terrified of. And it's going to eventually become natural. And that's what's kind of really great about, I think, pursuing business long term and wanting to constantly grow your business, is that you really kind of have to change your inner identity, but you become better because of it, right? Or I guess you could become worse, but we won't get into that discussion. Essentially, you know, my goals when I wanted to make $50,000 per year are very, very different to now where I am. And it doesn't mean that I'm not grateful for what I have or that I'm never satisfied. It more means that the more I grow, the more people I'm able to help, the more that I can build and do things, the more that I can get to this new level, and the more that I get to push myself and see what I can do. And it's wonderful. And you're going to feel that push and pull whatever stage you're at. So I hope this video helps you. I hope this video, because I had a lot of people asking me to do this video, and I finally just did it. I was like, whatever, I'm going to do it because people are asking for it. I hope this helps you, give you the courage to keep taking that next step and keep going and keep pushing yourself, and to know that that uncomfortable feeling doesn't end, but you get used to it. And yeah, I really hope it does help you. I would love if you could drop any business questions that you have for me down below in the comments. I'll be going through and responding to them. And let me know if this really helped you. It's really up to 1, visualization, and then 2, your business strategy. So any questions you have about either of those things, you can drop below. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I put out videos not just like this one. I was about to say that. It's normally what I do with videos is a bit more centered around specific topics and helping you with actionable steps. But you know, if you like videos like this and you want to know more about business strategies, you want to know more about business mindset, then hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. I'll be putting out a new video like this one next Friday. Be sure to like it and share with a friend if you want me to do more videos like this one. And yeah, I really hope it helps you. Last thoughts is, if you don't have someone who currently believes in you, and you don't have someone who believes that you can do it, know that I believe in you, and know that I know you can do it. I know you can do far more than you ever thought was possible. And yeah, I hope that gives you, because I know for me, I didn't have a whole lot of people who thought I could do it, but I had like one. And because of that one person, it kind of gave me the courage when I felt like I didn't have any, to pursue this and to do what I wanted to do. And it's led to a lot of wonderful things because of it. So I believe in you, and yeah, I would love to help you make it happen and make it happen for yourself as well. So I'll see you next Friday. This is the end of the video. Really long video if you're still here, but if you are here, thanks for sticking around.